Welcome back to another episode of SmoothBrainEDH, where we make the smoothest plays with the biggest brains. This week, we're playing some new commanders that we've never had on the channel, so let's see what everyone brewed. First up is Sam playing Magar of the Magic Strings. This deck's looking to put some powerful instants and sorceries in the graveyard, activate Magar's ability, and connect with those creatures to copy those powerful spells. Next is Caden on Nekusar the Mind Razor. You know how this deck works, it's a wheels deck, which triggers Nekusar and lets Caden burn out his opponents. Our third player today is Shelby, who built Storvald, Frost Giant Jarl. Shelby built this deck with a bunch of small creatures that can be pumped up by Storvald's ability for big damage. Last up is Ethan on Eris, Roar of the Storm. With his new mid-rangey take on Spellslinger decks, Ethan only wants to cast 2 spells per turn to make a board of large dragons and then Alpha Strike his opponents. We're about to jump into that game, but before that, go ahead and like and let us know which deck you're rooting for down in the comments below. Links to our socials and deck lists are also in the description. Our channel is partnered with Dragon Shield, so if you're looking to pick up any new sleeves or Magic-related product, check out our affiliate link in the description. Thanks to Dragon Shield for giving us the code SMOOTH5, so use that for 5% off your order at checkout. We're also partnered with Inked Gaming. Check out the affiliate link down below if you want to pick up any custom playmats. Now, let's get to the video.
It looks like Sam wins the die roll, and he'll start off with a Bloodstained Mire and fetch for a Badlands, and then pass the turn to Caden, who starts off with Undercity Sewers, and he'll Surveil one and leave it on top. The turn is then passed to Shelby, and he'll just play Seaside Citadel and pass. And then Ethan will play Storm Carved Coast and pass. Now back on Sam's turn, he'll play Luxury Suite and pass to Caden, who will also play Luxury Suite. Then he'll cast Elixir of Immortality and Blood Chief's Ascension, and then he'll pass the turn to Shelby, who will play Yavimaya as land for turn. Then he decides to go ahead and cast Growth Spiral, drawing a card, and putting Temple of Mystery onto the battlefield, and scrying one to the top. And then he'll pass to Ethan, where we'll see Training Center played as land for turn, Felwar Stone cast, and the turn passed. Sam will just play a mountain, and then tap for 3 and cast his commander, Magar. And then the turn is passed to Caden, who starts off with Storm Carved Coast. Then he'll tap for 3 and cast a Cancer of Endless Water, and then pass the turn to Shelby, who starts off with the Deserted Beach as land for turn. Then he'll tap for 4 and cast Toski, Bearer of Secrets. Then he'll pass the turn to Ethan, who starts off with Cascade Bluffs as land for turn. Then he'll tap for 3 and cast everyone's favorite card, Rhystic Study. And then the turn is passed to Sam, who will start off with a basic mountain, and then hit Caden for 3 commander, and then pass the turn to Caden. And he'll start his turn off with a Raucous Theater and Surveil one to the top. Then he'll tap for 3 and cast a Commander Sphere, and he does pay the 1 to Rhystic Study. Then he'll pass the turn to Shelby, who starts off with a Sea of Clouds as land for turn. Then he'll cast Slitherblade, and Ethan asks him if he pays the 1, and he will. Then he'll move to combat and hit Ethan for 1 for asking, and he draws a card upon connecting. And then the turn is passed to Ethan, where he'll start off with a mountain, then tap for 3 and cast Haughty Djinn. He'll then pass the turn to Sam, who stops on Instep to cast Entomb, and he does not pay the 1. It resolves, and he finds Breach the Multiverse to his graveyard. Then, still on Instep, he pays 3 to his commander to animate Breach as a 3/3 creature. And if Sam manages to connect with anybody with it, he gets to cast a copy of it for free. So then we'll move to his turn, where he'll play another basic mountain as land for turn. Then he'll move to combat, where Shelby decides to go ahead and bust a Beast Within, targeting that Breach the Multiverse. Sam goes in the Think Tank, but unfortunately can't do anything about it. Man, I would have loved to see that cast for free, but it's destroyed. And when it blows up, it exiles itself. He'll also get a 3/3 token, and then he'll pay 3 more to his commander to animate Entomb. Then post-combat, he'll cast a Night's Whisper, losing 2 life. Sam then hits Shelby for 3 commander, and then passes to Caden. And then on end step, since he hit Shelby, Blood Chief's Ascension will get a counter. Now on Caden's turn, he'll start off with a basic Swamp, and then he'll tap for 5 and cast his commander, Nekusar, and he does pay the 1. Ethan will respond to Nekusar with a Thrill of Possibility, and he discards Magma Opus, and then draws 2 cards. The commander then resolves, and the turn is passed to Shelby, where on draw step, he'll draw 2 and take 2 damage thanks to Nekusar. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this here. This does put another counter on the Blood Chief's Ascension on end step. Now on Shelby's main phase, he'll play Lush Portico and Surveil one to the top. And then he decides that Blood Chief's Ascension is going to get scary quick. So he'll put Stormkilled Vanguard on an adventure and bear down upon it, destroying it. Shelby then moves to combat, and he'll swing both his little dudes at Ethan. Ethan can't block one of them, but he will put his Djinn in front of Toski and take 1, and Shelby draws a card and also takes 1. Then post-combat, he'll tap for 2 and cast a good old Sack Daddy, and he can't pay the 1. Then the turn is passed to Ethan, Nekusar stuff on draw step. And then Ethan starts off with a basic island. And because he sees it as hurting his opponents more than himself, he decides to cast Blasphemous Act. Shelby will sack Sack Daddy in response for a basic, and then it resolves and kills all creatures. And with it hitting the graveyard, he is now able to cast his commander, Eris, for only 4 mana. After this, he moves to clean up and discards a land. And then he'll pass the turn to Sam, who starts off with a Flamekin Village as land for turn, and then he'll just pass the turn to Caden. And Caden says, if I can't have Nekusar, you can't have Rhystic Study, and he Chaos Warps it, paying the 1. So it's shuffled in, and Caden gives him a cut, and the top card is a Shivan Reef, so it goes to the battlefield. After this, Caden will pay 3 to cast Insatiable Avarice, and he decides to draw 3 and lose 3. The turn is then passed to Shelby, and he starts off with Dreamroot Cascade as land for turn. Then he'll tap for 7 and cast his commander, Storvald. Upon ETB, he makes Toski a 7/7. 7 is then sent over at Sam, who just takes it, and Shelby will draw a card. And then the turn is passed to Ethan. He'll start off by tapping for 3 to cast Frantic Search. He'll draw 2, discard 2, and untap those 3 lands. And the cards he discards are just 2 lands. We also get a Prowess trigger. After this, he'll tap for 4 and cast Big Score, discarding a mountain. There's 2 triggers from his commander, so he gets a 4/4 dragon with flying and prowess, and then a prowess trigger. Big Score will then resolve, and then after this, Ethan will cast a Soul Ring. Missed prowess trigger, then Ethan moves to combat and flies over to Shelby for 6. And then the turn is passed to Sam, where he'll start off with the Black Gate as land for turn. Then he'll tap for 5 and cast Wandering Archaic. And then he'll pass the turn to Caden, who plays Reliquary Tower as land for turn. Then he'll cast an Arcane Signet, and then a Brainstorm. And he doesn't pay the 2, so Sam will Brainstorm first. TLDR, they both draw 3 and put 2 back. After this, Caden will then cast Feed the Swarm, targeting the Wandering Archaic, and once again, he does not pay the 2. Shelby's commander is safe thanks to the ward, so Sam chooses Ethan's Dragon token, so he doesn't have to lose 10 life if he destroys Ethan's commander. Then the Archaic is destroyed, and Caden loses 5 life. Once that's done, Caden will tap for 3 and cast Molten Psyche. It resolves and he has 4 artifacts, so everyone shuffles their hands in, draws that many cards, and his opponents take damage equal to the amount of cards they've drawn this turn. For Sam, unfortunately for him, he shuffles in 7, so he takes a total of 10 damage thanks to that Brainstorm. Ethan shuffles in and draws 5, and takes 5, and Shelby does the exact same amount. Dang, 3 mana, deal a total of 20 to your opponents, that's not bad. Anyways, the turn is passed to Shelby, and he'll start off with the Guardian Project. Then he'll cast Birds of Paradise and draw a card upon ETB. Then he'll cast Selesnya Signet, and then a Triton's Shore Stalker, and when it ETBs, he draws a card. He'll then play a tapped Hollowed Fountain as land for turn. Then he moves to combat and swings his commander at Ethan and Toski at Sam. Attack trigger, and Toski will become a 7/7, so they each take 7. And Shelby will draw 2 cards. Shelby then passes the turn, and on end step, Ethan will cast Dig Through Time. He pays 3 mana and delves 5 cards, and some of the mana came from Soul Ring, so he'll have 1 colorless floating. He'll take 2 from the top 7, and then put the rest on the bottom in a random order, and then Chaos Warp Shelby's Guardian Project to trigger his commander and get another dragon. Guardian Project is shuffled in, and after a cut, Shelby flips Cephalid Constable, and it goes to the battlefield. Let's move to Ethan's turn now. He'll start off with a Personal Tutor, and this finds Jeska's Will to the top of his library. There's a Prowess trigger from this as well, and then after this, Ethan will tap for 5 and cast Imposing Grandeur, another Prowess trigger. Now Ethan very clearly says to everyone that this is a May, they don't have to discard their hand, and Shelby is the only one to decline. Let's see what everyone discards.
Is it Boilerworks, Prismatic Vista, a Mountain, and Dorian Ruin Diver? Okay.
Filth, Brass's Bounty, Gyrie Sanitarium, Whisper Soul Cloak, Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, Swamp.
Here's a mountain
There's a mountain?
and a bloodstain.
Potters, dude.
And then everyone draws cards equal to their commander's mana value. And Ethan draws 10 off of this. Oh yeah, and Ethan gets another dragon. This is his second spell this turn. After this, Ethan will pay 2 to cast Thunderclap Drake. And then he'll pay another 2 to cast Jeska's Will, targeting Caden. He'll get 5 red mana and exile the top 3 cards of his library. Prowess trigger. He'll then cast Finale of Promise Xs3 using all 5 of that mana, targeting Jeska's Will and Frantic Search. So this will net him a total of 3 prowess triggers. He'll resolve Jeska's Will first, same targets, same mana, exile 3, and then he'll do Frantic Search, drawing 2, discarding 2, and untapping 3 lands. And the discards are more lands. Ethan then realizes, ooh, I could probably kill someone this turn, and his target is Shelby. So he casts Snap, targeting Birds of Paradise, and he does pay the 3 ward, and there's more prowess triggers. After this, Ethan casts Faithless Looting from exile, and there's more prowess triggers, then he'll draw 2 and discard 2. After this, he'll move to combat and swing 24 damage in the air at Shelby. And he can't do anything about it, so Shelby is murked. Post-combat, Ethan will cast Ponder from exile, and prowess triggers don't matter anymore this turn. After this, the turn is passed to Sam, and he'll start off with a basic swamp. Then he'll cast Chainer, Nightmare Adept. and then a Talisman of Indulgence, and then he'll Chaos Warp Eris to keep Ethan from making more dragons. It resolves, and after a shuffle and a cut, Ethan's top card is a Brainstorm. The turn is then passed to Caden, and he starts off with a Dragon Skull Summit as land for turn. Then he'll cast a Psychosis Crawler, and then a Wheel of Fortune. Now Psychosis Crawler is only a 3/3 right now, so Ethan will respond to this with a Lightning Bolt targeting it. Caden will respond to this by sacrificing his Commander Sphere to draw a card. Ethan responds to this by casting Prismari Command, choosing to destroy the Psychosis Crawler and make a treasure. Caden responds to this by flashing in Orcish Bowmasters, pinging Ethan for 1 and amassing 1. Let's move down the stack now. Prismari Command resolves, Ethan gets a treasure, and Psychosis Crawler dies. Caden will then draw a card, and then the Wheel of Fortune will resolve. 14 Bowmaster triggers go on the stack. 1 will kill Ethan's Cost Reducer, and 13 go at Ethan's face. The turn is then passed to Ethan. And he'll start off with a Command Tower. He'll then cast Veyron, Voice of Duality. And then he'll Rapid Hybrid the Bowman, and he has double prowess triggers thanks to Veyron. He'll then cast a Brainstorm and have even more prowess triggers. After drawing 3 and putting 2 back, he'll cast Stormkiln Artist. Then he'll cast Seize the Spoils, discarding a land, double triggers all around, and then he'll draw 2 and make another treasure. After this, he'll cast Factor Fiction, targeting Caden, double triggers again. This reveals Stella Lee, Demand Answers, Otawara, Expressive Iteration, and Mizzix Mastery. Caden puts Demand Answers and Mizzix Mastery into one pile and the rest in the other, and Ethan takes Mizzix Mastery. Ethan will then cast the Demand Answers, discarding Arcane Bombardment, double triggers, and draws 2 cards. Then he'll cast an Opt, more triggers, and then he'll cast Valakut Awakening, more triggers. He'll put 4 cards to the bottom of his library and draw 5. Ethan will then move to combat, and with his 2 dragons, he will kill target Caden. And then the turn is passed to Sam, and he'll start off with a Command Tower as land for turn. Then he'll tap for 5 and recast his commander, Magar. Sam then pays 3 to his commander to animate Savage Beating from his graveyard. And yes, I didn't know that was in his graveyard either. When Caden's Wheel of Fortune resolved, nobody said what cards they discarded. Sam will then move to combat and full swing at Ethan because Chainer gives his commander and the 3/3 Savage Beating haste. Ethan moves to blocks and puts Veyron underneath Chainer. Then, before damage, Ethan will cast a Baby Rift targeting Savage Beating. Triggers will make Veyron grow to a 4/4 and he'll make 2 more treasures. Moving to damage, Veyron survives, Chainer dies, and Ethan takes 3 damage. Post-combat, Sam will cast Trailblazer's Boots and pass. I think it's Jover for him, especially when Ethan casts Mystical Tutor on Instep. This will find Mizzix Mastery back to the top of his library, and on his turn, he will cast it Overloaded. This gets him more than enough prowess triggers to absolutely obliterate Sam. So Sam just lets Ethan skip to combat and kill him. So yeah, that makes Ethan and Eris today's winner. Congratulations! Welcome one, welcome all to the end of the video where I'm going to announce the winners of the giveaway from the past 2 weeks. As most of you know, all you had to do was comment on our first Thunder Junction video, and you had the chance to win one of 2 precons, so let's see who won. First off is the winner of the Olivia precon. Congratulations, Yenchatan7276. We'll reply to your comment asking for your email to get further information from you, and let us know, did your friend upgrade their AC precon? Alright, up next is the winner of the Yuma precon. Congratulations to Ahmed Omar. -ZE9NP. We will also be replying to your comment, and I must apologize. It seems you don't like playing landfall decks, but you won the landfall deck. But anyways, congratulations to the both of you. Please reply as soon as possible. Anyways, that's all for today. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a smooth day.